December 3, 2025, an announcement from former President Donald Trump sent shockwaves through Washington. A full, unconditional pardon for Democratic Congressman Henry Cuellar of Texas and his wife Imelda. The Cuellars had faced a federal indictment for conspiracy, bribery, wire fraud, and money laundering, accused of accepting $600,000 in bribes from foreign entities. With a single stroke, Trump erased their legal troubles, igniting fierce debate over his motives and the use of presidential power. Trump framed the pardon as a stand against a weaponized justice system, aligning himself with Cuellar's criticisms of the Biden administration's border policies. This unprecedented act raises urgent questions about justice, political strategy, and the trust Americans place in their government. The charges against the Cuellars were not just serious, they struck at the heart of public trust in government. Federal prosecutors accused the couple of orchestrating a complex, multi-year scheme that blurred the lines between public service and personal gain. According to the indictment, the alleged conspiracy spanned 7 years and involved secret payments funneled from a powerful Azerbaijani energy company and a major Mexican bank. These payments, prosecutors claimed, were not simply business transactions, but bribes intended to buy influence at the highest levels of the U.S. government. In return for these payments, Congressman Cuellar allegedly used his official position to advance the interests of these foreign entities. This included advocating for policies favorable to Azerbaijan and Mexico, and even delivering a speech on the House floor that, according to investigators, was drafted by Azerbaijani diplomats themselves. A rare and troubling breach of protocol. The indictment painted a picture of a sophisticated money laundering operation. Imelda Cuellar, the congressman's wife, allegedly set up a network of shell companies to disguise the origin of the funds. These companies, on paper, appeared legitimate, but prosecutors argued they were used to funnel bribe money and pay for personal luxuries, from travel to real estate. Both Henry and Imelda Cuellar have forcefully denied any wrongdoing. At press conferences and in interviews, they insisted that all payments were for legitimate consulting work, and that their actions in Congress were always guided by the needs of their constituents, not by foreign interests or personal enrichment. The stage was set for a dramatic and closely watched trial, one that promised to reveal the inner workings of international influence and political power. But before any evidence could be presented or witnesses called, President Trump issued a sweeping pardon, abruptly ending the case and leaving many questions unanswered. Now, the public is left with only allegations and denials and no legal resolution. The truth behind the charges remains a matter of debate, fueling ongoing discussions about ethics, accountability, and the influence of foreign money in American politics. Trump's justification for the pardon was a direct attack on the Department of Justice, framing the agency as a political weapon rather than an impartial enforcer of the law. He argued that the DOJ had overstepped its bounds, suggesting that its actions were motivated by partisanship rather than justice. This rhetoric is not new for Trump, who has repeatedly accused federal institutions of bias against him and his allies. In this case, Trump claimed Cuellar was targeted specifically for his opposition to President Biden's border policies, painting the prosecution as retaliation for political dissent. By invoking the contentious debate over border security, Trump tapped into a deeply polarizing issue that resonates with many Americans, especially in regions directly affected by immigration policy. By linking Cuellar's case to his own ongoing legal battles, Trump painted both himself and Cuellar as victims of a justice system manipulated by political opponents. This narrative of persecution is central to Trump's messaging, reinforcing the idea that the legal system is being used to silence or punish those who challenge the current administration. The move was also highly strategic. Cuellar's South Texas district is not only politically pivotal, but also a microcosm of the broader national debate over immigration and party loyalty. By intervening in this district, Trump is sending a message to both local and national audiences about his priorities and willingness to act. The pardon is designed to appeal to conservative and independent voters in the region, many of whom feel alienated by current border policies and are looking for leaders who will challenge the status quo. Trump's action is calculated to win support among these key demographics, potentially shifting the balance in a crucial swing area. This action fits into a broader pattern. Trump's second term has seen a series of controversial pardons, not just for domestic political figures, but also for foreign leaders and adversaries. Each pardon has sparked debate about the limits of presidential power and the role of clemency in American democracy. Each of these pardons challenges long-standing legal norms and signals Trump's willingness to use the power of clemency as a tool for political messaging, rather than as a last resort for justice. Critics argue that this approach undermines the integrity of the justice system, while supporters see it as a necessary correction to perceived abuses of power. The Cuellar pardon in particular blurs traditional party lines and redefines the boundaries of presidential authority. It raises questions about loyalty, bipartisanship, and the true purpose of executive clemency in a deeply divided political landscape. Ultimately, it's a calculated play to reshape the narrative around justice, loyalty, and power in American politics, one that could have lasting implications for how future presidents wield their authority and how the public perceives the rule of law. Beneath the politics, a personal plea played a key role. Cuellar's daughters, Christina and Catherine, wrote to Trump, asking for clemency for their parents. Their letter drew parallels between their father's prosecution and Trump's own legal struggles, framing both as victims of a biased system. The sisters highlighted Cuellar's independence and willingness to challenge his own party, echoing Trump's narrative of political retaliation. This emotional appeal resonated with Trump, who often responds to stories of loyalty and shared grievance. The timing and tone of the letter suggested helped tip the scales, giving Trump a personal justification for the pardon. The family's direct approach added a human dimension to a story otherwise dominated by political intrigue. After receiving the presidential pardon, Representative Henry Cuellar stepped before the cameras outside the U.S. Capitol, visibly relieved. He expressed deep gratitude for what he called a clean slate, acknowledging the weight that had been lifted from his shoulders. Cuellar thanked his family, supporters, and legal team for standing by him during the ordeal, and emphasized how much the experience had changed his perspective on public service. He vowed to refocus his energy on serving his district in South Texas, promising to listen more closely to the concerns of his constituents and to work even harder to earn their trust. In the days that followed, speculation swirled in political circles and on cable news about whether Cuellar would switch parties, especially after accepting a pardon from a Republican president. But Cuellar quickly put those rumors to rest by filing for re-election as a Democrat, making it clear that he had no intention of abandoning his party or his values. He firmly denied any secret deal with former President Trump, telling reporters that his loyalty remained with his district and the people who elected him. As a conservative Democrat, Cuellar has long walked a fine line, especially on issues like border security. His support for increased border enforcement has often set him apart from the more progressive members of his party, drawing both criticism and praise. By accepting Trump's pardon but choosing to remain a Democrat, Cuellar is navigating a complex political landscape. He's signaling to voters that he can work across the aisle, but also that he won't compromise his core beliefs or switch allegiances for political gain. In a district that's deeply divided, where Democrats, Republicans, and independents all have a strong presence, Cuellar's approach is a delicate balancing act. He's trying to appeal to a broad coalition, knowing that every vote will count in the upcoming election. His strategy is to build a personal brand that transcends party lines, focusing on local issues and direct engagement with the community. Cuellar hopes that by being visible and accessible, he can win over skeptics and reinforce loyalty among longtime supporters. He's betting that his record of bipartisanship and his willingness to listen to all sides will resonate with both Democrats and independents, especially in a time of national polarization. The upcoming election will be a crucial test of whether this centrist, bridge-building approach can succeed in today's sharply divided political climate. As the campaign heats up, all eyes are on Cuellar. His response to the pardon and his decision to stay in the Democratic Party have set the stage for one of the most closely watched and unpredictable congressional races in the country. Democratic leaders responded to the pardon with surprising restraint, downplaying the charges and affirming Cuellar's place in the party. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries even called the indictment very thin, echoing Trump's narrative more than the DOJ's. With a razor-thin majority, Democrats prioritized party unity over outrage, seeking to keep Cuellar in their ranks. This pragmatic approach avoided internal conflict, but risked accusations of hypocrisy, given the party's usual stance on Trump's use of power. The muted response reflects the complex calculations leaders make when justice and political survival collide. For now, Democrats have chosen to move on, but the episode leaves lingering questions about double standards and party loyalty. The Republican reaction to Trump's pardon was split. Trump loyalists praised the move as a blow against a corrupt justice system, seeing Cuellar's party affiliation as irrelevant. Traditional conservatives, however, were uneasy. Pardoning a Democrat facing serious charges clashed with their law and order message. Many chose silence, wary of crossing Trump but uncomfortable defending the pardon. The episode exposed a core tension: loyalty to Trump versus commitment to anti-corruption principles. For GOP candidates in swing districts, the pardon is a political minefield, complicating their message on ethics. The Cuellar pardon has become a new flashpoint in the ongoing struggle over the soul of the Republican Party. The federal case is over, but Cuellar still faces a House Ethics Committee investigation, which could lead to censure or even expulsion. The committee will review evidence to determine if Cuellar violated House rules or misused his office, independent of the criminal case. The pardon means the public may never see the full evidence or hear testimony, leaving the truth unresolved. Supporters claim vindication. Critics see unpunished corruption. The lack of a trial leaves a cloud of ambiguity, fueling debate over what really happened. The final judgment now rests in the court of public opinion, not a courtroom. The Cuellar pardon is more than a political headline. It's a test of American democracy and the principle that no one is above the law. For some, it's proof of a rigged system where the powerful protect their own. For others, it's a stand against partisan prosecution. Trump's move deepens polarization, with each side seeing justice through its own lens. The episode highlights how political alliances now form around shared grievances, not ideology. Such maneuvers erode public trust, making politics seem like a game for insiders. The true impact will be measured by whether Americans still believe in equal justice for all. The story of this pardon will echo for years, shaping debates about power, accountability, and the future of our democracy.